Attention on deck. You're about to take command. Welcome to the bunker.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the bunker. It's been a hot minute since we've done one of these. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and this is one of our mashup episodes. For those that join us on game day, we team up with the Bleeding Burgundy guys and we talk shit for 45 minutes about our great football team, the Washington Commanders. So we thought, hey, it's been a couple of weeks since we've chatted any football, so let's jump on and do a podcast. Jesse has shoveled his way out of the snow, as you can see for those watching on YouTube. Jesse, how are you, brother?
Cold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Brilliant. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's good to see you, my friend. Down on my bottom left there, we have my fellow Brit, not the usual fellow Brit. This one has slimmed down a bit. Mr. Scotty Hartley, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I don't know about the slimming down, mate. But yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
I'm
A
joking.
slight smaller head.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
Scouse, I'm joking before you text me. Fucking hell, I'm only joking. And in the bottom right, this is what Santa Claus does when he's not handing out presents in December. He just chills for the rest of the year. Mr.
That's
John
right.
Tayman, how are you, sir?
I am toasty and warm, man. I don't go anywhere in the snow.
We are all a lot warmer than Jesse. But yeah, we're back to talk some Washington Commanders, boys. It's been a hot minute since the season ended. Scotty, missing football already, bro?
Absolutely. Sunday was like, what do I do? It was just weird. You wait all this time.
I had
You
to
wait all
talk
this
to this
time.
person in
Andy,
my
don't you?
house. Turns out
Yeah,
she's my
it's
wife.
weird.
I was like, who the fuck are you? Where have you been? No.
Yeah.
She's been here all the time, apparently. She's quite nice, get on well. Yeah. But John, how are you, my friend? Missing the football season yet, sir?
I'm always missing the football season. The fact of the matter is my alarm clock doesn't work, and every goddamn time that the game comes on, I miss it.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
of course I'm missing the football season. To me, well, see, you and I we like baseball.
Pitchers and catchers are back.
Pictures, but see, baseball is America's pastime, which means it passes the time between now and football. And
Exactly.
once that starts, baseball's out the window.
Yeah, true. No, I'm looking forward to the baseball. But boys, how are we summing up? Well, we sit here now. We're nearly in March. John, I'll come to you first. When you look back at last season, has it actually sunk in yet that we had the season that we had? We mentioned on like every show or every chat that we done, even when we were together in September, we were talking about like what the season holds and it can't be any worse than last season. I think it exceeded every expectation that we had. I mean, me, Jesse, and Scouse, when we recorded our last bunker just after the season finished, we're like, the standards are set now. The ceiling is so high.
Right.
I mean, in a kind of way, I'm super excited about next season, but I'm also mindful of the schedule is going to be a lot harder. People are going to kind of know what to expect from our QB now in young Jaden. I mean, how do you assess what you saw last season, and what are your thoughts as we look ahead to what is going to be an incredible season next year, hopefully?
Well, yeah, it has sunk into me what kind of a season we just had. I am accustomed to success, so of course I'm ready for what comes with it. No, it was beyond anything that we ever expected. We got a close up of Scott laughing at me there. It was really beyond anything that any of us expected. But I think that you're right. It does raise the expectation bar now. And you see so many people talking about this sophomore slump that they're going to expect out of Jaden and all that kind of stuff. But frankly, from my own personal perspective, free agency starts in a week and a half, 2 weeks. The draft is in about 7 weeks. And I couldn't even care less at this moment. I am still basking in the glow. I'm laying back on the pillow, smoking a cigarette. Hey, Jaden,
Yeah, I
good to
mean,
meet you.
Jesse, it's we're usually talking. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure everyone there's. I've already seen the dreaded mock drafts, but it's not as easy for these dumbass motherfuckers who love to talk mock drafts. You can't do a mock draft when we're at 28. I mean, it's not as these boys are getting challenged this year, and that's a joke, by the way. Fair play to all of you who did the mock drafts. They bore me to fucking death. But Jesse, to touch on what John just said there, how are you looking back at it now? Like I say, as we're sitting here heading into the middle of February, we were one game. Let this sink in. We were one game away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one game away from the Super Bowl. So yeah, the expectations are set. I mean, this is our window is wide open right now, and for the life of me, I try to stay off of social media as much as I can, but I can't freaking help it. And for the life of me, people, I'm talking about spending the amount of cap space that we have. People are trying to save money. They're acting like it's their money. Now is the time. We went to the NFC Championship game, one game away from the Super Bowl. You go get your superstars. You go spend that effing money and get players that will make this team fucking better. Like, and people are like, I don't know. Fans are stupid. We're all stupid. We don't know the hell what they're talking about. But I mean, it's at the door, man. We were at the door, knocking hard, and it's Super Bowl or bust for the next 3 years, and 4 years, 5 years, in my opinion.
Scotty, does that kind of? I mean, it seems weird when Jesse says that. Next season, we're already sitting here thinking it's Super Bowl or bust. I mean, Jesus Christ, no pressure, lads.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it though. I think this is the time, in the words of Jerry Jones, you've got to be all in. No, this is it now.
Whoa! I don't know if we can go. Whoa!
Yeah, you can go.
Can we go there?
God dang it!
Look
how far it got me.
Yeah, visions of Jerry Jones going all in. Oh dear.
I mean,
I went all in, and next thing I know, I was in the glory hole. God dang
well.
Oh,
no, in all
he's
seriousness,
been locked up in that house too long. Get out, John. I know it's snowing. Leave the house just for 5 minutes.
Touch some grass. Yeah, you'll be all right.
Oh, you can't say that either.
That's true. In all seriousness, I think we've got to go in and get these superstars. As Jesse said, we've got a lot of money to spend in free agency. It's time we upgraded in the areas we need. We know that both lines are needing upgrades mainly more than anything, and it's time we did that. We see that every free agent or potential free agent is being linked with us heavily. And I don't disagree with what the talking heads are saying in the media. Every other day a new free agent comes and it's this person's going to be linked with Washington. This person's going to be linked with Washington. It's going to be an exciting off season. Let's just put it that way.
John, is it kind of like you said when we said earlier, like a double-edged sword now? Is it the case of people knowing how much fucking money we've got, knowing that we're a good football team now? So like Scott just said, the world, his wife and his 10 uncles are all going to be linked to us. Right. How do you see that? How do you see it? But is that going to be something that's favorable to Washington? Because I think we are going to attract players now purely on football basis. And everyone knows we've got a lot of cap space. But when you do break it down, in NFL terms, it's a lot, but it's not a lot, if that makes sense, John. How do you see the free agency and our spending? Like Jesse just said, now's the fucking time. We either go all in or we don't.
Well, you'd have to define all in. I don't want to, everybody's going to hate me but I'm not so certain on Myles Garrett. Jesse's going to start screaming in his truck right now.
Yeah, you're a moron.
I know I'm a moron. I'm a moron. But, if you look at the bell curves of what defensive ends do at that age, I'm more interested. Yes, we should spend, but I don't know that we should be so stupid as to go Snyder-esque, and just grab every top name that we can.
Oh my God,
they've got to fit. The good news is I trust Adam Peters, and if he says let's go get Myles Garrett, John's right there on the Myles Garrett train. That's where I'm going to be. But at the same time, I want to be able to build more through the draft. I want to be able to fill holes through the draft and accent with free agents to be able to hit that window. We've got that window open for a while. We've got a young quarterback on a cheap contract, at least for the next 4 years. And by the way, did you notice how many?
You go and get him.
Look how much hair Jesse has on his knuckles there. No, he's not going to talk then.
Yeah,
I ain't got no hair on my knuckles.
All right, the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, they told me how you get that. But I never believed them.
Anyone watch the movie Teen Wolf when you were a kid? Anyway, Scotty, where were you sitting with any free agent again? Are you just scrolling through social media? I'm still watching like the Good Morning Footballs, etc., whatever's on, and podcasts and stuff. I mean, you are right. Every single player at the minute, you can't. There's not a day where you don't scroll through X, Twitter, whatever people are calling it now, where everyone's just like, this free agent comes up, they're like, Washington Commanders. It's just like, come on, man.
For the 20th straight year, Andy.
Yeah, true. That is very fucking true. If we got all the free,
We're
if we
always
had got all the free agents we were linked with over the last 10 years, we would have won about 4 Super Bowls by now. Just saying. But Scotty, you're into all this, man. I know you delve into it, and this
Love
is,
it,
you
yeah.
know, you've literally probably been locked in that room since the season finished. Free agency, Scotty, talk to me. Who are you going for and why?
Quite a few players that I think aren't necessarily the players that you would think of. James Daniels would be my first signing from Pittsburgh, who is a right guard. He had the best PFF grade out of every guard in the NFL. He is a free agent. Will probably only cost you around 5 million on a 1 year deal. It's quite a cheap. It's quite a cheap fix to get him in there. We need a right guard. We haven't got one because obviously the injury to Sam Cosmi, and nobody's talking about that. Everyone wants this massive splash on wide receiver, this massive splash at defensive end. We've got to shore up the line. The other one for me would not necessarily be Ronnie Stanley. If you can go out and get him as a left tackle, then fantastic. He's obviously over at Baltimore, but it's going to cost you quite a lot of money to get him in. I would go Alaric Jackson from the LA Rams, who's potentially going to be about 13 mil a year. Again, nowhere near as high as the people that you're thinking, the top free agents. But I would put him in and probably move Brandon Coleman to right tackle would be where I go with that, just to try and shore up this offensive line. I think we will go for Myles Garrett. I think if you're not in the conversation, then and you haven't picked the phone up, then something's wrong. The only issue I think with this whole Myles Garrett trade is how does Cleveland get off that contract with the dead money? That's a real problem for them because of the Deshaun Watson contract.
I bet
They
Jesse's got an answer for that.
They can't really cut anybody. So I mean, you'd be left with another 20 million in dead cap for them.
Well,
And they can't. They
did
can't
restructure. They did restructure Deshaun's contract. No one's really talking about that much, but a couple months ago, Deshaun restructured the contract. I think it does lessen it some. No one says it's going to be easy, but if there's a glimmer of hope that a player like Myles Garrett, age be damned, he is still the best defensive player in the game, and he's got more left in the tank. Players are playing longer and longer nowadays. You're damn right you go after a player like Myles Garrett.
I think so.
Because we have the money, we have the assets. Our window is wide open. You need to do something to shore up the defense, and that would be because even we got him. Yeah, it's going to cost a lot, but we still have a lot more money left over.
True.
How careful?
Did you see how high the cap went today?
Yeah, another.
What did it go to?
Another 25 mil.
77. Yeah, it's almost it's over $250 million.
So that adds even more to it.
They tell me there's no money in the world.
You're probably going to get rid of John Allen to take his money off the books. We're going to have a lot of fucking money to play with.
Sure.
Yeah, I genuinely think, John, what are you thinking draft-wise now? Again, like I joked earlier, people were like doing mock drafts, and they're saying, "I'm not used to doing a mock draft when we're down at 28." What are you? 29. Sorry, my bad. We spoke about this, me, Scouse, and Jesse, when we recorded just before the season had finished, and I think Hartley mentioned it on his show. It was like, you just play it by ear. When you get down to that far, it's what fits our need more than us saying, well, no, we're definitely drafting a right tackle, or we're doing a guard, or we're doing a wide receiver. It's what's there at the time. If you were in that draft room, John, come draft day, what would you be doing?
Ordering drinks, because I'm sure they're on the house for one. So that by the time we got to number 29, I would be able to just say whatever the hell came to mind, and it would sound smart.
What? We just drafted a quarterback. John's drunk again.
The thing about need at that stage, I think if you're drafting at 29, I mean, unless the guy that you've targeted for your need that you want the most falls to you, go for best player available, BPA, and whatever that is,
100%.
Whatever that is. So I'm not the biggest draftnik. Scotty's much more of a draft guy than
Scotty
I am.
lives for this shit. Honestly, he just walks around with an erection for 3 months while the build up to the draft.
Right.
Son.
See, I mean, everybody shows
draft,
these
yet he
lines of
doesn't
tape.
watch college football.
I don't. I do. I do
so
like
crazy.
to watch. I do like to watch tape. I like to get my feeds from other people as well, and then I dig down into the actual bits. I mean, what would you do? Wide receiver? Wide receiver? Would you
I
look at
watch
Luther?
the tape
in the
and dig
draft?
down into the other bits.
Best
Well, I
player.
mean,
Best player.
best player
Best
available.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scotty's like, he likes to watch his porn, but he doesn't like to read the bios of the actresses. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, Scotty. Do you know what? Scotty's the kind of guy that watches porn, but he wants to skip the bit where they actually fix the washing machine.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, it was this rubber washer. There you go. You're all fixed.
This washing machine hasn't worked for 4 months. Oh, thank you so much.
Now everything else is leaking, Mr. Smith.
See, this is what happens when we haven't got football to talk.
Wow.
See, I didn't think this was that kind of a show.
See, you've only been here 5 minutes, John, and we've already turned into the Bleeding Burgundy Bloody podcast. We don't usually do this. You know.
It's my fault.
We're usually very prim and proper around here. But no, I mean, you are right, guys. I mean, I'm with you, boys. I think whatever's there at the draft, you take the best option. I mean, there's a lot of people. Me and Jesse got into this. I think it was the last show of the show before last. Scotty. A lot of people saying that we're going to draft up. I'm with Jesse. We could draft back.
Oh yeah, I
Drop
think
back,
so. I don't.
accumulate
I
picks.
don't think we'll even have a first round pick because
No.
Myles Garrett will have been our player by then. I don't think we'll have a
confident
first
there.
rounder. No, I do. I genuinely think he will leave. I mean, where's he going to go? He wants to go to a championship winner, and he wants to go to somewhere where he knows he can win. Who's in the better position than we are to pay him? There isn't a team.
The other thing about it is when you're talking about earlier, Andy, about players that are now being linked to us and want to come here. We saw Frankie Louvu took less money to come here last year.
Mm-hmm.
So how many of these guys would be willing to cut a little bit off of what they're asking to be able to come here and be in a market where a man like Scouse would have a podcast? It's got to be a jewel for him.
There's got to be a market for a Scouse to have a podcast just on his own. I'd watch. We could call it the slab heads or something. I don't know.
We could call it down in
Wow.
front. Get the hell out of the way. Get out of
What's
the way.
happened to this fucking show? I
Just
don't
in
know.
case anybody was expecting Scouse. There you go.
Hello, you know, bloody
Leave
shite,
it
mate.
alone.
Shite, mate.
I just want to point out, Mr. Hartley, I didn't start any of that.
I know.
Oh, Scouse, we love you, brother. It's all a joke. Don't text me with the ump. Boys, when we were meant to do this show, actually, about a week and a half ago, we had a few questions come in, so I'm just going to try and get to some of them now. Call me Ramsey, Scotty. You can take a first one. It says, given how badly the Rivera era ballsed up the draft, and given how stacked this draft is for the trenches, should we give up 2 firsts and maybe more for Garrett, or pay a free agency like Sweat and the draft is starting at right tackle? Interesting. I mean, I don't think we will. What about you?
I think that we will end up giving up 2 first rounders for Myles Garrett. I think that's inevitable. I think that's where it starts.
Actually, yeah, John, I don't know. I might be with. I don't know though. It's Myles Garrett though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's the best. He got defensive player of the year.
John, would you give up 2
votes
firsts
this year? Yes, and more.
See, I said Scotty. Jesse killed me when I said I'd give up 3 for it. But
Not 3. I'd give up probably 2 firsts, and then it depends where you get to. You may be looking at a 5th next year as well.
Yeah, 2 without a question. Absolutely. He's because we're picking, in the late
29.
first round. So essentially it's second
done.
round. So absolutely 100%.
And then
he's
your
worth it too.
Your 2026 pick, you hope starts with a 3. So it's
that's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
John, why are you not giving up 2 first rounds?
Because I'm stingy on first round picks, and I think that Adam Peters could use 2 first round picks. I mean, I'll give up 1, and I'll give up a collection of other picks to be able to do it. And I definitely understand where you're coming from, that it'll be a late round pick, so it's essentially a second rounder that you're giving up. But boy, 2 first round picks is pricey, man. Pricey. And then you have to pay him. Which
I know that.
I'm
trying to think. You've got 2 years on his contract at the minute. He is going to want to get paid. I understand that completely, and he wants the market reset.
Why we're just quickly, and I know this is like the off season. Jesse, I'll give you $50 if you go and get someone to come on the podcast right now in that store.
Yeah,
bring him on. No way. I don't think there's anybody in here.
Bring him on.
Everyone needs to watch this on YouTube.
I forgot to get my fast pass, and I used my work truck to come home. So I know I got to get cash out of the damn ATM. That's why I had to come in.
Cash? Is cash still a thing?
I don't know.
I got to toll. I got to toll a bridge. I got to go over and get home.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, Josh would like to know. Josh would like to know with how the team exceeded expectations this year, 12 wins instead of the 5 they predicted, and getting to the championship game. What do you think needs to be done roster-wise to make sure the team repeats that feat and makes it one step further to the Super Bowl?
Keep Jaden Daniels healthy. That's what you got to do. And that can come from a lot of different sources. Shoring up the offensive line, obviously, is something that you want to do to make sure that he has the time that he needs. Giving him a better weapon outside to go along with Terry McLaurin also would help him, because we saw what he's able to do with an offensive line that's not exactly the best. And frankly, I said this before, but the sophomore slump that everybody's going to, talking about, that this could happen to him. Look, the virtual reality training that Jaden does, I think puts him so far ahead of everybody else that the film that they say, oh, they've got film on him now, is just film of him already having figured them out. So he's doing what he's already. So go ahead, try to outsmart yourself now, because that's what you have to do with him. Go ahead, Jesse.
I got a question. I got a question with that. Like, when does the league catch up to that? Like, do you think like all quarterbacks are going to start doing that, and then this is just going to be such a like
they will.
I mean, it's already a quarterback-driven league, and it's already an offensive league, with all the rules that they have. But imagine, all these quarterbacks start doing that, and then it's just like we're going to start having games like, a low-scoring game is probably going to be like 27, 24 or something like that, instead of like, in the teens. I'm talking about in the future, like 5-10 years down the road.
When robots are playing.
I heard, Jesse, that it cost the team 130 grand to get this all set up for him and ready to go. That's nothing. That is nothing.
Pennies.
In the grand scheme of things, that is absolutely minuscule. And when you're expecting someone to play under center and pay them 60 million a year, do you know what I mean, in the future plus, it's nothing. And I think you're right. I think it's going to take them probably 2 years to do that. And I think if you're not on this train right now and you're not implementing this for your quarterback, then you've got problems. You're going to be left behind.
More than your quarterback. I would suggest that you need to put your strong safety on there. You need to put your middle linebacker on there. You need to get your guys that are seeing the field.
Do you think that's where football could go, John? Where we'll get to a stage where the offense and the defense.
Dude, I tell you what, it could go to the point where we all put Elon Musk's Starlink in our head. We all watch on virtual reality, and players actually kill one another out there on the field. It'll be like a video game, and then that's when you bet on Tyler Murray.
On the plus side, though, Scotty, just think porn in virtual reality.
There you go. Porn in virtual reality.
There you go.
Then you don't have to say to scouts, get the fuck out of the way. Jesus Christ.
Scouse in virtual reality.
Imagine Scouse saying, I'll give you some head. My God.
Scouse playing I Hold You Shake in virtual reality.
It would fall on the floor like a bowling ball. Wham.
Honestly, anyway, this is where this show's going.
Really, I know. See,
but yeah,
right down the toilet.
Is it something?
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgie podcast.
Welcome to the mashup with the bunker. But the bunker. This is like what happens when the bunker says, "I'm coming out for one drink," and you end up staying out for 10 with the Bleeding Burgundy guys. You know what I mean? This is the kind of where this podcast is. But is it? Do you think that's more? Is that something that the league could do? Do you boys think?
Yes.
Like new technology, like VR headsets, like virtual reality stuff, all the stuff that you're seeing now outside of football. Like if you look at the gaming world now, back when we were all kids, you had like a console that like had fucking a little bouncing ball on it, and that came. If I was a boy, I didn't have nothing to play with when I was a kid. It was kind of like, is that where sport and the NFL more particularly is going now? Do you think? Would you guys think?
Digital, virtual reality, absolutely for players. You'd be stupid not to nowadays. Go ahead, Scotty. I'm sorry.
We're using it in work at the moment in my work, and we've designed various things that you can see through. It's part of the apprenticeships for most of our apprentices. It's awesome when you actually wear the Oculus headsets and you have a walk round, and we've got our own VR suite. All that sort of stuff is going on in my own work right now. So I know how it does work in a working environment. There's no reason why it couldn't work in sport. and you can sit and roll through lots and lots of film and see various different positions, see various different outlooks. You can learn the playbook better that way, because remember, the traditional way of learning is that you have a playbook in front of you, you learn that playbook. Not everyone is a learner like that.
Does
People
it make
have to
it
be
better for
shown,
rookies?
taught.
Is that kind of thing,
I think
boys?
so.
So
He
as a
was
rookie
one.
coming out, as a rookie, yeah, exactly. Jaden was one, but is that the way that we can make? Because Scotty makes a great point there. As when you do, we've been very fortunate. We spoke to people like Doc Walker, and we spoke to players, and and they always tell us about the playbook and how fucking like mahoosive it is with virtual reality. Does that make it easier for someone coming out of the college game and into the NFL, thinking, well, if I can learn this virtually, it's gonna help?
It's more than that for what Jaden does, because what they plug into what Jaden's doing is they plug in the defense. They plug in what the defense's tendencies are,
What
the
they're
virtual
running.
reality, right? And the databases that they're using on these players, they're collecting info and data on all of these players, all these metrics. You see these vests that they're all wearing in training camp that measures all kinds of things, that all these metrics that they're doing, that all feeds into this. They have analytics that study tendencies of players. So when Jaden is when we're preparing to play the Giants, Jaden puts on that VR headset and he looks through it, and what he sees is an entire field full of dog turds, because that's what they are. But when we play a team like the Eagles, he can see what they are going to probably do for him.
Yeah, I
got to stop him.
I like listening to the guy from LSU who was on Kime's show before the season started, and he said we actually plug it in with noise, with the exact location of where the play clock is, so he can see that. So all this talk before the games, that towards the end of the season, he's going into a really loud environment, against the Lions, etc. It didn't bother him at all, because he's already played the game in his head. He's watched it. And he's gone through it already. So he knows what that atmosphere should be like.
They say he can take like 1,500 more reps a week
without
getting touched.
Yeah.
So, Scotty, let me just ask a quick question. Since you've been using VR at work, has your passing percentage gone up? Your completion percentage gone up?
I don't know, rookie numbers, John. Got pump their numbers up.
The English submarine standards have gone fucking down. I know that. Yeah, Hartley's been let loose with a VR headset at work. But no, boys, actually, one thing as well, John and Jesse, I'm really interested to get your points of view on this, because I put this out on X about a week and a half ago, and fucking hell, it blew up. Two things that I put out. John, I'll come to you first. The NFL now, next season, there's going to be a game in Ireland. There's going to be a game in Brazil. There's going to be a game in Spain. There's going to be a game in Mexico. There's going to be a game in Germany. And obviously, we're going to have our London games. I got into various discussions on X 2 weeks ago with people of all different views. And you have to bear in mind, I'm coming from a European point of view as an NFL fan. So it's going to be very different. As an American, John and Jesse, how do you feel when you see the game that it's America's game? And I get that. Football, soccer is our game. And it's kind of leading where I'm going. As an American, how do you feel when you see people talking about the NFL expansion teams in Europe, the game now going to Ireland, Brazil, Mexico, Germany, all them places? Is it good as a fan, being a fan of the NFL in America, where you see your game going to worldwide? Or like a lot of people messaged me saying it's good as long as it doesn't. A Washington fan said to me, Andy, I love it as long as it's not my team.
You're going to have to get around that, especially as they keep adding more and more games. You didn't even count the game that they're going to play in Australia in a year.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. 2026. Yeah.
They're working on a game on the moon, I think, in 2031. Look, the thing is this.
Elon's gone playing in Mars.
That's right. I don't mind it. I'm certainly not at all possessive of it, like, it's Americans' game, you can't have it. I couldn't care less about all of that. For me, a whole lot of that stuff is just wrapped up in people's testicles, and most of them are way too small to even be talking at the level that they do. So I don't care if it can be popular and it can get out there. I'm happy for it. If people want it, I'm happy for them to be able to have it. What I want to make sure of is it doesn't create any kind of competitive problem, that teams are getting a fair shake. They're not having to fly all over the globe just to advertise the game, that the games are actually going to be competitively scheduled.
Meaningful, yeah.
Well, not only that, but it's not going to give the team any kind of imbalance with their jet lag or coming home, and you're going to have to really do a lot of schedule shaking to make it work and make it fair.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers' flight to Australia in total with a stopover is 27 hours.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
I mean, some of you people are just too far away. I'm so sorry. But, the Melbourne didgeridoos are going to have to wait till they get their own team.
Melbourne didgeridoo. Scotty, Jesse, sorry, before I go to Scotty, Jesse, what do you make of it? Because obviously, I know we've had this discussion before on the show, but obviously it come out a couple of weeks ago that the NFL is now going to Ireland. And like John just said, it's going to Australia. As an American, and it's Americans game, and I think Scotty G tweeted us and a few other people I was getting it into, they were just like, because the commissioner come out and said, we're still getting closer maybe to having a Super Bowl on foreign soil one day. I genuinely don't think that's going to happen, but I'm kind of now getting to the stage where I'm like, I'm never going to say never in the NFL because you just don't know the way that sport is going. I mean, we have the baseball over here. We've got 2 games of the NBA again coming, and again, I know I'm comparing this to the Super Bowl, but we've got so many things. I'm just using my own country. That's what's going on in Europe, and God, Saudi Arabia seems to be getting fucking absolutely everything nowadays. There's going to be an NFL game in Saudi Arabia not before long. But Jesse, what do you make of what's going on with the NFL now and where they're expanding and what they're doing? Are you a fan of it? Do you, as a Washington fan, would you like to see the Commanders play opening weekend in Brazil against the Chargers?
Yeah, no, but I get it, but it as John kind of alluded to a little bit, it needs to have a fair balance of it. That 27-hour flight to Australia, I think, is a little bit ridiculous. And I don't mind the expansion, but I would mind the Super Bowl, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. Taking away a Super Bowl from the U.S., I think is a little bit ridiculous. What I am interested to see is if Washington does ever have a home game away, what would happen to the season ticket holders? Would they have to pay for that game? Some may not be able to make that. I don't think that should be included in the price of the season tickets, to be honest with you. I think there need to be like an add-on package if that happens.
I think you get first refusal. Speaking to some of the Jags fans stateside,
I was
think
going to
you
say
get first
that,
refusal.
Okay,
you get a free ticket for the Jags games, Jesse, over here, and there's a refund process if you don't want to go.
I think Jaguar season tickets are $19.48 with a parking pass. So
I think they went up to $21, John. Because
damn Trump.
Inflation.
Let's not get started on that, guys. One other thing,
case of eggs and Jaguars tickets.
One other thing that's kind of come out since since the season's finished and we're looking for shit to talk about, Jesse. The extra game has been muted now. It's just, and it's going to be. It looks like it's potentially going to happen at the start of the 26-27 season. The extra game can only be good for the game in the NFL, right? And good for us as fans.
18 games.
Absolutely, 18 games, but they need to put it built in 2 buys. That's the only way this is going to work.
Yep,
that's the only way that this is going to work. It's the only way that I think players would,
they have
be okay with it. They built in an extra buy. That's just too much for them. It's too much.
They have to expand.
Scotty, how many games of football do we play a season? 38?
Yeah. And expand the rosters, yeah.
42 games we play a season.
Talk about the game where people fall down because somebody flicked a fingernail at them.
Here we
Look,
go.
don't blame me. Look, see, did you see what happened, Jesse? I said something slightly mean, and both of them laid on the ground. Oh, here we go.
26 games of professional rugby, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, the rugby players play 26 this season with no pads.
Six Nations.
I'm
not gonna disparage a rugby player.
John, what about you though? What do you reckon about the extra game? Good thing?
They got to expand the roster. That's plain and simple because the attrition of the NFL is too much. And look at it this way. If you legitimately look at the NFL season as a whole, week to week, and you look at the games and say there's 14 games on average per week, even though we know there's more, but figure in bye weeks, by about week 6, you're getting a good handful of games that are Joe Blow against Jimmy Schmuck, backup quarterback versus backup quarterback. And then from their point on, it just gets worse and worse and worse as the season goes on. By the time you get to week 12, 13, 14, you've got 6, 7 games in which the starting quarterbacks are just bums. They can't play. They don't know what they're doing out there. Somebody help them, but they can't. We're going to get into a whole can of worms because the NFL keeps changing rules to try to protect quarterbacks, and they can't. They can't do it, all right? You start adding games, and you're going to have even more of that. And you're going to have people that are really – you're going to have 4 or 5 teams at the end of the season by the time week 16, 17, where they're going to have games that have any meaning at all. And then you're going to have a bunch of games that are going to be like the Bears versus the Raiders.
What do you think, John? Just following up to that, then, John, what do you think? Generally interested here. What do you think the future of the NFL is? Say, like, we're talking at the start of the show, we're talking about virtual reality, we've talked about extra games, we talked about expansion teams in Europe. In 5 to 10 years, because just the way that sport is going in general as well. We're talking about the NFL because it's an NFL show, but you look at baseball, the amount of it's not over in England this year, but it's coming back in 2026, 2 games. NBA is over here all the time. Obviously, I'm just talking about American sports that are now expanding across the. There's been talk of taking a Premier League soccer game, football, for all the people that are going to kill me for calling it soccer, taking that to New York and stuff like that, and that's been muted about. But yeah, but what's the what do you think the future of the NFL looks like? Say in 5 to 10 years, we're all still hopefully going to be here, and we're all going to be all old and wrinkly, and well, John's old and wrinkly now, but we're going to, what are we going to be talking about in 5 to 10 years? How's the NFL going to look?
I think we're going to be looking around to see who's got food because it's going to be a nuclear holocaust in 4 years. That's what I'm predicting. But that's just me. I'm a nihilist. The NFL, I think, in all candor, over the last couple of years, I've been wondering when it's going to hit that saturation point where it's just too much. It's overwhelming. There's too many games. It takes too long. There's too much nonsense in between all the games. And I think that it's maybe not getting there close yet, but you saw that Netflix is now in on the Fox package, right? They want to bid for the entire Fox NFL package, which means you want to watch all those games, you're there. So honestly, I think that the main thing that the NFL needs to do, and Roger, Bubala, streaming service, NFL streaming service, give us a channel on an NFL streaming service for $15 a month and give us everything. I'd pay it.
Yeah.
We're lucky then. We get that.
Yeah, we've got that. Yeah, we've got that. We get I pay Scotty, how much would DAZN is?
It's $29.99
$29, yeah, so about $27 a month, and we get everything on one platform.
But we
prefer like dental plans and shit like that. That's what we spend our money on.
NHS maybe, yeah. You broke your arm, it costs you $400 over there.
You only get exactly. Right. You only get that in 5 payments though. It's done after that. I think it's like 200 and something pounds in it a year.
You can get the NFL ticket here. You can buy that, and it'll give you every game. But I'm saying, give me a streaming service. Get rid of NFL Network. Get rid of all that crap that's on cable. Because let's face it, cable is last century's technology. Give me a streaming service.
Streaming's the way it's going. I mean, Netflix are trying to get the Formula One now.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. But you give me a streaming service where I can turn on NFL streaming and pick any game I want, watch it anytime I want, at any time. If I want to watch NFL films, I can watch that. If I want to watch old Super Bowl shows, I can watch that. My thumb is going to get clickeritis.
The good thing with that, John, and I think you're right in what you're saying, I think that is the way it goes. It's the consumer product and how we are all consuming our TV and what we watch these days. I mean, you only have to look at, I know it's an awful boxing match, but the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight was, what was it, 380 million people watched it worldwide.
People slow down and look at car wrecks though.
I know, but that was all in what I'm saying is they all have subscribed in some way to a Netflix platform. So that is kind of the way to go. That's why they're all in on this. What do I think it's going to look like in 5 years? I think it's going to be, you're going to have an 18-game season, that's for sure. You may have an expanded roster.
Do you know what I think we could have in 5 years, Scotty? NFL Summer League.
Well, the first European league was a summer league.
I generally think that. I mean, someone was taught. I don't know what. Again, John mentioned the NFL Network a minute ago. I was watching something on there the other day, and everyone was like, "Oh, the NFL is such a big. It's a big global company, but it only runs from September to February. If you make the Super Bowl, but not at the times. It's September till the start of January." And then just got a whole brand there where, you have the combine and the draft. I get all that, but someone made a point of saying, would there ever come a time, and it'd be Jesse, I'll come to you with this one. Will there ever come a time where we could have an NFL kind of structured summer league? I don't know if you'd use practice squad players or you'd use it as a, what we call over here, like you have trial games where you want to, it would be like a combine within a combine. It would be like, I want to see what these guys can do. So if they perform in the summer league, I might draft them onto my roster. Jesse, do you think we'll ever get to a point where we could see an NFL summer league?
I just don't know if there's good enough players to go around for that. I mean, they kind of do, even though the NFL is not necessarily affiliated with the XFL and the USFL. They merged. But you can't have anything in the deepest summertime. It's too damn hot unless you have it indoors. So if the talent pool is out there, possibly. I just don't know if the talent pool will be out there enough to start something like that. But I mean, I do think they should. They need like a minor league system to help groom players.
Scotty, what about you? Do you agree? I think it'll be a good. I think it'll be a good thing. Other than like, don't get me wrong, I watch the combine and I watch all the other stuff that goes. Everyone knows me. I'll get me to preseason, get me to regular season. I don't like the draft. I don't like the combine. I don't listen and you guys put in a WhatsApp group who we've got free agency about. Okay, let me go and make some notes for a podcast. I pretty much switch off. So, Scotty, is it beneficial for the people that like watching football? And like Jesse said, could you use it as a kind of way to put players out there and go, right, let's play an actual game. Let's play 4 quarters and let's use it as this wide receiver performed well in this. Let's put him on a roster kind of thing.
Yeah, I've never really understood. That's the only bit I don't understand because I'm used to obviously sport in our over here where you have a league structure, where you have promotion and relegation in a lot of sports. And I get that they're all franchised, completely understand that. But would there be a feeder league? It's tried and failed in the past. It's been very, very difficult, especially with NFL Europe, which failed miserably in the end. But it worked for 10 years. And then,
do you think a promotion and relegation would ever work in the NFL?
No, I don't think it would. But I do think the AFL or the USFL, whatever it's called now, after the merger, we've got DC Defenders, haven't we?
DC Defenders, yeah.
Local ones there. I think they will stay. But I think there will be players who are on there who are talented who will probably end up on NFL rosters, at least get camp invites anyway. And I think that's kind of where it will go from there. There just needs to be some sort of structured feeder.
Would them kind of teams, John, say like the DC Defenders, for example, would there ever be a situation, we'll use the DC Defenders because this is what we do. Would there be a situation where the Washington Commanders have an affiliate to the DC Defenders, as in like not a feeder team, but they're associated to the Commanders with an eye on going, like Scotty just said, oh, we might have a look at this guy and put him on our training camp or something like that?
No. Short answer, no. And the reason why is it's several parts to the reason why. But number one, the talent disparity. When you look at what we were just talking about a minute ago, or what I was just talking about a minute ago, by week 6, the really bad quarterback play that you end up getting in a lot of games, you take it down another level in football, and it's just dreadful. All right. Yeah. When you watch these UFL games, they're not good. They're not good. All right. There's occasionally a player that will rise, but it's not very many. So for bang for your buck for the NFL, no, it's just not worth it for them to be able to financially do something like that, except now, NFL Europe did last for 10 years, and you need to do it in a trial in a place like that where they're not regular NFL is not as accessible, right? If I'm in Omaha in Nebraska, number one, I'm wondering why the heck am I in Omaha? And 2, if I don't want to watch this crappy UFL team, I can watch the Broncos. Whereas, you might not be able to do that in, say, Munich or something like that. But if you have a team over there where you feed a couple of players, but when you look at NFL Europe, how many players came from there to the NFL? A handful.
Kurt
Warner, Brad Johnson, our quarterback. I mean, a handful of them did. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to a minor league system, what you were talking about, Scotty, and why there's not a leveling, it's because the attrition of NFL football is so bad. All right.
Yeah, what is it, 3 years? The
Oh,
career
it's
average?
crazy.
Is
A
that
little
a
over
thing
3.5
across American
years.
sports though, John? Because when you look at it, you look at the NBA, it's kind of done in the East and North. It's done in the same sort of structure. When you look at the NFL, you look at hockey. Is that? And look, I'm not here having a dig.
Yeah.
Everyone knows how much I fucking love your country and I love your sport. Hence why I
Yeah,
dedicate half my life to it. Is it at America? Like Scotty made a good point. We're so used to the promotion and relegation. What is it with American sports that they don't do that? They just have conferences.
Oh,
and
with like
divisions?
teams? Well,
Yeah.
because
What is it that you don't have like
uh,
promotion and a relegation kind of
these
thing?
leagues? Because these leagues,
Is it
once
because
they
the minor
establish
leagues are so
themselves-
shit?
No,
Well,
I mean, in
listen, I
baseball,
got the answer to
Go
that.
ahead.
I got
Please,
the
go
answer to that. Listen, baseball, they have tons and tons of
Yes.
farm teams, what we call farm teams.
Mhm.
The minor leagues, they got the
Yeah,
grapefruit
the Nats
leagues,
have
they
got a
got
good one.
Bush. But like NFL, the players, the NFL is so hard. Football is so hard, so difficult to be good. There's just not enough people
right,
that can do it. That's the thing. There's
Okay.
just not enough people
right.
that can actually play as good as your Jamar Chase, your Joe Burrows, your Daniel Daniels, your freaking Tom Brady's. There's just not enough people in the world that can do that. That's why.
There's not enough
Yeah,
Sheldon Days.
Yeah,
That's
there's
the
just
thing.
there's just
The bottom of your
not.
roster
Yeah,
is
John's
better
right.
than all
Yeah.
of them. And if you have a guy that you have interest in that you think can play, you sign him to the NFL roster, because that talent disparity is so big that when you say how come like the defenders can't affiliate with the Commanders, because the other teams will scream foul. If they like a guy, they want to be able to money talks. They want to be able to go and buy him. So I don't think it'll ever work to the extent where there's like a farm system where they can put guys in like baseball does and they bring them on up through the ranks. As far as relegation goes, these leagues, once they establish themselves, like when the NFL established itself, man, they're not going to say, oh, if you lose, we're going to bring somebody else up here. There's nobody else to bring up. That's just it.
How alien does that sound, though, Scotty?
It's weird, isn't it? It's like I know that my shit team could potentially have 3 good seasons and end up in the Premier League.
Sure.
Genuinely, if they were, if
They
it was
could also have 2
let's
shit
end
up in Dunstall's league.
We're talking about a sport that you can play in any third world country as long as you have a reasonably rotten fucking cantaloupe that doesn't fall apart after 5 kicks.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a shot across your bow.
This is why. I prefer it when he doesn't see his WhatsApp when I invite him on these shows. They're not fucking better. But boys, let's just wrap things up. John, what does the off season look like for John Tayman?
It's cold. I'm sitting in the house.
Yeah, okay, that was.
Oh
easy.
yeah, no. For me, it's. Aren't we glad that we're not asking the big, gigantic, how are we going to change this franchise questions?
Oh, dude,
or
who are going to draft at quarterback, or what quarterback are we going to sign?
If I see one more person tweet that out going, oh, I've just done this mock draft and I think we're going to take this person at 29, but I've also put it into my calculator. Fuck off. Yeah, fucking sad bastard. That wasn't a dig at you, Hartley. Yeah, hi, Scott.
6 already.
You haven't done 6 mock drafts already.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Lord
how did you get married and have kids? Honestly, I don't know how you. done it.
Scott, move to your left just slightly, Scott. All right, if you can get him on the screen, you see those things back there? Those are actually his thinking caps. They're not very big. he puts that thing on there. He puts that on.
Go to YouTube and watch this on YouTube. You bastards listen to this on audio. There you go.
There we go.
But Jesse, what's the rest of the year looking like for you till we get to talk about some meaningful football?
Yeah, it's hockey. My Caps are doing really, really good. They're leading their conference, and baseball's going to start up, and once it gets spring outside, my bike shows. I guess we got a bike show in 2 weeks. So
cool. Please tell me the Nats are going to be. Please tell me the Nats are going to be good this year.
No, they're probably another year off. But they got some really good players in the pipe, though. They got some real good players in the pipe.
I would be glad to invite you upon the Orioles bandwagon.
You've tried this before, and I'm a Nats.
Well, we're looking at the World Series this year. World Series or bust.
No, we're looking at the World Series last year too.
Well, I know, but we needed to get our glasses adjusted. Not the year before that, no. I've spent the last 20 years in baseball hell just as I did in football hell. So
One of the funniest things was John Tayman sitting next to Scott Hartley at a baseball game in September.
Oh my God.
You're not wrong.
No,
At least
when I
it was
got
good
squished between
conversation.
Scott Hartley and Scouts, and I tried to sit in the seat between them, and I was all, Jesus, what the hell happened there?
Scotty, what about you, my man? What's the next? What are you doing with yourself with no football?
I will be
mock drafts, Andy.
I will be looking at what the free agency pool is like. I won't be predicting anything, and then I'll be watching a terrible soccer team or football team play, trying to stay in the English Football League. And that is about it, mate. Until we get going again. Free agency.
Does anyone watch the combine? Does anyone bother?
Yeah, I'll watch a bit of it, but I won't watch loads of it.
Good Lord, no.
I'll watch a bit of it.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Absolutely not.
No,
I can't ever. Here's a bunch of guys in underpants running around doing things when they tell me, "Oh, did you see his 40 time?" Okay, show me when he can run 40 yards with nobody touching him.
Why don't they do the combine in pads?
I don't know. Why do they do the combine at all? They know what these guys can do.
Genuine question. Why don't they do the combine in pads?
Like I said,
it makes no sense to me that, like you said, John, did you see his 40? Well, yeah, put him in some pads and fucking let him, put a defender running at him at full speed and then see how quick he does it.
Yeah. Let's see after 5 yards before somebody knocks the crap out of him.
That would make the combine interesting.
Right. Let's see how he does.
Line up a bunch of put a whole defensive line in front of him and go, right, arse, I'll run through this lot in 40 seconds. See how you
exactly.
Get on. Yeah. But I don't know. But boys, it's been a pleasure just to talk some football, shoot the shit with you. Anyone listening, this show was not scripted. We just thought we'd come on, put some content out there and have a catch up. We got to see Jessy walking in the snow for those watching.
Looking at Jessy from an angle I don't want to see.
Yeah, I felt like I was back in the Airbnb for a minute there. I didn't know.
Can y'all see the snow coming down?
Yeah. Everyone see that. Just going to get the YouTube subscribers up.
There you go.
Gee, that is some serious fucking snow over there, by the way.
There you go.
How many inches of snow have you had?
How many inches you got, Jessy?
We got about 4.5 so far.
Bear in mind it's cold.
Get probably 7. I would say 7 inches.
7 inches. Well, no one. I don't know what to do with that. Don't know what you do with that on a cold February night, hey, John?
When it's that cold out, dude, I'm not going to lie. This storm was, I don't even want to talk about it. They told us the other day that, we're looking at 21 inches. And I'm thinking, wow, it's going to be a lot of deep fun. And no, I ended up with hardly anything and it's going to rain and get messy. So I guess I feel like some of Jesse's dates.
It's going to rain and get messy.
It's not as big as they thought, and it's just gonna end in a squirting mess.
You're just fucking
welcome to the bunker, everybody. Welcome to the bunker close season. This is what happens. This is what we do. Look, Hartley's like he's going to have a baby. Anyway, Scotty, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too.
When's are you boys dropping a 1 Point Safety show anytime soon? You and Scousey boy.
Probably do either Monday potentially. I don't know yet. We were going to go tomorrow, but Scouse is on the road working.
Yeah, he's a busy man as our Scouse boy. He's fair play to Scouse, by the way. Set up his own bloody business. That is not easy. So fair play to that boy. Jessy, when can we expect the dulcet tones of the Bleeding Burgundy again?
Probably in a couple of weeks. We're going to take some time off, and we'll probably have a free agency podcast, post free agency, and when the draft stuff really starts going, we'll start talking about that too.
Okay, cool. Well, anyone wants to go check them out, go and check out the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, the 1 Point Safety Show with Scott and Scouse. Anyone that hasn't already, check us out on YouTube, the Bunker Podcast. Scroll down 1,000 times so you don't get an Adolf Hitler show. We're there somewhere, squeezed in between Hitler and someone building a sandcastle. I don't know where we are, but we're in there somewhere. Just look out for the Just look out for the Washington logo. I always think subscribers don't seem
you
to
want
be
to see my
moving
dog
that
take
far.
a shit?
No, not really. I'd rather watch Hitler build a sandcastle. Fools, put the turret at the top.
The English are coming.
There we go. Yeah. Get it, boy. Get it, boy.
There you go.
Oh, wonderful. There you go.
Anyway, this
Plant the flag.
I don't know what don't know. I've lost it. I don't know what's happened this show. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. We hope you all enjoy your close season. We're going to drop our next show. I don't know when. I'll speak to Jesse and Scouse, and when we feel like we've got something to talk about, Jesse's dog taking a shit or falling over in the snow, we will drop a show. But check us out on. You can check us out on X at Commander Bunker. Just reach out to us on there. If anyone wants to come on the show as well, reach out to us. We had Ian from Australia come and join us a couple of weeks ago. That was such a good show, man. It always blows my mind how far and wide the NFL fans and the Washington fandom go. So, like I said, I recorded that at like 7 a.m. UK time. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Australia. Really great to have Ian on the show. Ian, I hope you're doing well, my man. Thanks so much for coming on. But thanks to I forgot to say this at the end of the last show. Big thanks to everyone that's interacted with us throughout the season, that sends in tweets and questions and the YouTube banter and everything. I mean, I say this all the time. The NFL community, for as bad as Twitter or X can be at times, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for that. And I wouldn't know these three motherfuckers. So make sure you come and check us out on social media. But this has been another episode of the Bunker / Mush Up with the Dirty Bastards over at the Bleeding Bay. It's like when you invite your drunk uncle round for Christmas. That's what I've just done, basically. I've invited my 3 drunk uncles round for Christmas dinner. But we'll be back at a later date, everyone. But till next time, everybody, bunker down. Stay safe.
Bunker down. Bunker down.